I always thought Elena was the kind of woman who valued loyalty, but doubt had started to creep in. My voice remained calm, though my stomach churned. "Did you just say you're going on a date with someone else?" I asked. Elena crossed her arms, her gaze defiant. "Yes, I am. Don't make this a big deal, Julian. I just need a night to feel something different." She noticed my face harden, a flicker of hesitation flashed across her features, but she straightened up. "I love you, Julian, you know that. But right now, I need to see if this is all there is for me." I had no choice but to force my voice to stay steady. "You're determined to do this, so I'll be here, Elena, dealing with the fallout while you chase whatever fantasy you think you're missing." I tried to let my words linger, but she was too caught up in her own world to notice. "Julian, please don't turn this into a fight," she said softly, lowering her eyes. "I just want us to be okay." "Then stay," I replied, raising an eyebrow and waiting, but she didn't respond. In that moment, I knew she'd already made up her mind. I could see it in the tension of her stance, the way her eyes avoided mine. She had convinced herself that this was her right. By Thursday, I had moved my things into the guest room. The silence between us was thick and uncomfortable. It didn't matter that she was just one room away, it felt like miles. I ignored her questioning looks as I gathered my clothes and belongings, barely saying a word. Eventually, she couldn't hold back any longer. "Julian, are you seriously doing this? Are you really going on this date?" she demanded. I responded without looking at her, "If you are, then yes, I'll keep to myself while you explore." "Don't be ridiculous," she huffed, crossing her arms in frustration, but the silence that followed was answer enough. She had nothing else left to say. Friday morning, I left early, heading to the most exclusive men's salon in town. After a meticulous shave and haircut, I looked at a sharper version of myself in the mirror. In the shop next door, I chose a sleek dark blue suit and a pair of black leather shoes. I was ready to remind both myself and maybe even Elena that I wasn't just a doormat to be walked over. After a quick stop to get my car washed, I returned home just as Elena was coming down the stairs. She was dressed up more than usual, wearing a new red dress that clung to her curves, and heels that added inches to her height. I didn't say a word, but she caught my gaze and hesitated, seeming almost unsure of herself. "Julian," she started, her voice uncertain. "Save it," I cut her off coolly, picking up my keys. "I have my own plans tonight." She blinked, taken aback. "What do you mean?" "Exactly what I said," I replied, matching her surprised tone. "If you can have a night out, then so can I." I picked up Karina, a colleague I'd recently gotten to know. She was beautiful, with a warm smile that immediately put me at ease, and her laugh lit up the dimly lit jazz bar we went to. The night seemed to stretch on, easy and free, and I found myself laughing, momentarily forgetting everything, even Elena's betrayal. On the dance floor, our hands found each other naturally. Her laughter blended with the jazz, and we moved in sync, the world fading into the background. Each touch, each sidelong glance was a reminder that life didn't end with Elena. Karina whispered something funny about the old couples dancing nearby, and her laugh was infectious. The spark was undeniable. I returned home around midnight, my shirt collar faintly scented with Karina's perfume. Elena was waiting by the door, her expression a mix of annoyance and uncertainty. She didn't look me in the eye directly. "Where were you?" she asked, her voice edged with accusation. "Out," I answered simply, offering no more explanation than she had when she mentioned her own plans. Her frustration flared. "You could at least tell me who you were with." "Oh, you didn't feel the need to tell me your little friend's name." "Why should I?" I shrugged nonchalantly. For a moment, she was speechless. I could see the doubt and insecurity in her eyes, but she quickly masked it, forcing herself to stay composed. "So, did you have fun?" she asked, trying to sound casual but failing. "Actually, yes," I replied, feeling a strange satisfaction in admitting it. Turns out there are people out there who value my company. Elena's face paled, but she struggled to keep her composure. Julian, you don't need to do this. I thought you understood tonight was just something I needed. I crossed my arms, anger bubbling over. You needed to betray me, Elena. Tell me, who was it? He must have a name. That's none of your business, she snapped, but her voice trembled. None of my business. I shot back, my words sharper than I intended. I think I have every right to know who I'm sharing my wife with. The silence between us was thick with tension. Elena shifted uncomfortably, her defenses cracking. Julian, I didn't mean to hurt you. But you did, I said, turning away, a numbness settling in. By the next morning, Elena had moved out of our bedroom entirely, as if creating distance might heal the fracture she'd caused. I made my decision as well and spent the weekend packing my essentials. Staying under the same roof was only deepening the wound. Words were no longer enough, only actions remained. Monday evening, as I placed my bags by the door, Elena walked in, her face stricken. You're really leaving, aren't you? She whispered. Yes, I said firmly. I think we both need space. You can go find what you're looking for, and I'll figure out what I want too. Her lips parted, as if to argue, but she couldn't find the words. She slumped, defeated. In the following weeks, life settled into a strange new normal. Karina and I grew closer, meeting frequently. I found myself opening up to her in ways I never had with Elena. Her warmth was a balm for the ache in my chest. Slowly, life began to feel vibrant again. One evening, as we finished dinner at a cozy Italian place, Karina reached out, touching my hand gently. Julian, I don't want to rush things, but I'm here for whatever you need. Her words were sincere, not a quick fix, but a steady offer of companionship. I squeezed her hand, grateful for the comfort she brought into my life. On a rainy night, a knock echoed through my new apartment. To my surprise, it was Elena, drenched and shivering. Can we talk? She asked, her voice small, uncertain. I hesitated but let her in, curiosity winning out. She glanced around the room, which no longer bore any traces of our shared life. Julian, I don't know where to begin, she started, her voice thick with emotion. I made mistakes, terrible ones. But I'm here because I want to make things right, if you'll let me. A part of me softened, recalling the good times, but another part stayed wary, hardened by her betrayal. I don't know, Elena, I said, bracing myself. I've been through a lot since you left. I don't know if things can ever go back to how they were. As she looked at me, her face a mixture of regret and hope, I realized this story wasn't finished yet. Elena sat across from me, and my mind flooded with memories, late nights filled with laughter, lazy Sunday mornings, and shared dreams. But that felt like another life. Since her betrayal, everything had changed, and my heart had found solace in Karina's warmth. I met Elena's gaze, and for a fleeting moment, I saw a glimpse of the woman I once loved. The woman I once believed would stand by me through anything. Elena, I started, trying to keep my voice as steady as possible. You made the choice to leave us behind, you decided that without involving me. And now you're back because... I let my voice trail off, leaving the unspoken question hanging in the air. She clasped her hands tightly, her eyes locked onto mine. Julian, I realize now I made a grave mistake, a foolish, terrible mistake, she said, her voice quivering. I thought I needed something more, something different, but I see now that everything I ever needed was right here with you. You were everything. The words might have been comforting, maybe even healing, but they felt empty, a hollow echo that came far too late. I inhaled deeply, searching for the right words, but it was difficult to find anything that could bridge the chasm between us. Elena, do you understand the extent of the damage you caused? I asked, struggling to keep my emotions in check. It wasn't just me you hurt, you shattered everything we had built together, made me question everything I believed about us. She winced as though my words were physical blows. I know, Julian. I know, she whispered, her voice almost inaudible. I don't expect you to forgive me overnight. I'm just asking for a chance to prove I can be better. Her words lingered, filled with hope yet tinged with desperation. The reality was, while she'd been out searching for new excitement, I had been piecing my life back together. I thought of Karina, her laughter, her kindness, the way she had mended the parts of me that Elena had broken. Elena must have sensed my hesitation because she leaned in, her eyes pleading. I'm aware there's someone else now, she said, swallowing hard. But Julian, we have a history. Don't throw it away over one mistake. A wave of anger surged within me. One mistake. You didn't just trip into betrayal, Elena, you chose it, over and over again. And now you're standing here, expecting me to just overlook it. The silence that followed was thick, uncomfortable. Her words had stirred something in me, a pull towards the past we once shared. But I had worked so hard to rebuild. Karina had shown me what it felt like to be truly valued, to be appreciated. I wasn't willing to lose that or risk getting hurt all over again. Elena, I'm not sure I can ever feel the same way about you. You broke something in me that might never heal, I said quietly, almost to myself. Elena's face crumpled, but she persisted. Please, Julian. Can we at least try? I'll do anything to make things right. Her plea hit a raw nerve. I'd always believed in giving second chances, in the ability of people to change for the better. But what she had done wasn't just a mistake, it was a choice she had made deliberately and repeatedly. I glanced at the clock, feeling the pressure of her gaze on me. Let's just get through tonight without making any decisions, I finally said, needing time to process. We can see how things feel in the morning. Relief washed over her face, and she nodded. Thank you, Julian. That's all I'm asking for. The next morning, I woke up with a heavy heart. Elena had spent the night on the couch, but her presence felt like a shadow hanging over everything. Just as I was mulling over my next move, my phone buzzed. It was Karina. Hey Julian, she greeted me, her voice warm but cautious. I was wondering if you're free tonight. Thought we could grab dinner. I hesitated, glancing towards the living room where Elena was still sleeping. Sensing my pause, Karina's tone shifted. Is everything okay? She asked, concern evident in her voice. Yeah, it's just. Elena showed up last night, I admitted, the words tumbling out. She's asking for another chance. There was a long silence on the line. I see, Karina finally replied, her tone unreadable. And are you considering it? I rubbed my temples, the weight of the decision pressing down on me. I don't know, Karina. I'm confused. I don't want to hurt you, you've been nothing but amazing to me. You deserve the best. She let out a sigh. Julian, I don't want to be the consolation prize. If you still have feelings for her, you need to figure that out. I care about you deeply, but I can't be the other woman in someone else's story. Her words hit me hard, making me realize just how much she meant to me. But she was right, she deserved clarity, not someone torn between two worlds. After ending the call with Karina, I knew what I had to do. I went back into the living room where Elena was now awake, sitting quietly with red-rimmed eyes from a sleepless night. Elena, I began, taking a seat across from her, I've given this a lot of thought. While I'll always care about what we shared, I don't think I can go back. Pain flickered across her face, but she nodded slowly. I understand, Julian. I knew it was a long shot, but I had to try. I reached over and took her hand gently. I hope you find what you're looking for, Elena. I truly do. But for me, moving forward means leaving the past behind. She pulled her hand back, a bittersweet mixture of relief and sadness in her eyes. Thank you for your honesty, she whispered, wiping away a tear. I'll pack my things and be out by the end of the week. That evening, I called Karina, unsure if she'd even want to speak with me. To my surprise, she answered on the first ring. "Julian," she said, sounding hopeful but cautious. "How did it go?" "Karina, it's over, for good," I told her, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. "I couldn't go back, not after everything. I want to move forward with you, if you'll still have me." She was silent for a moment, and I held my breath. "Julian," she finally replied, her voice filled with warmth, "I'd love that. But let's take it slow, one step at a time." Relief flooded through me. For the first time in a long while, I felt like I could breathe again.